Now, it goes without saying that you can't just open a notepad and start typing down code. You need something to actually write down the code in, which is going to be an IDE. An IDE is one of the most paramount things whenever you're coding in Java, since you can't just write it anywhere. You need to have specific software for that. So that's what we're going to be doing in today's video. You're going to need an IDE. An IDE is basically a fancy text editor. It's fancy for text editor. So basically, integrated development environment is fancy for text editor. Now, there's a lot of options to choose from. Personally, I use IntelliJ IDEA. You can use NetBeans Eclipse, or you can use Microsoft Visual Studio. That's pretty much up to you. But personally, I use JetBrains. So yeah, IntelliJ, you're not going to need the ultimate. You need to pay for that. We're going to use the community edition, which is free but has everything that we're going to need. So you're going to download that, and then you're going to have to install it. But I already have it, so I'm not even going to bother. We already have it installed. So yeah, get that, download it, and then you should be good to go. All right, up next we need a JDK, which is basically like the resources for Java so that your IDE knows what you're trying to do. So basically we're going to need an IDE SDK, which is Java Development Kit, JDK. Just look this up in your browser, JDK, and you should be able to find a link. So I'm gonna link everything down below in the description. So you're gonna scroll down until you find your desired operating system. So if you're on Linux, you can get these. If you're on Mac, if you're on Windows, I'm on Windows, so I'm going to click on Windows, and then you're going to pick yourself what kind of installer you want. You could either just get yourself a compressed archive, 64-bit installer, which is exe, or an MSI. I pick MSI because it just works so well with it just comes down to preference, I think. So yeah, none of that matters. So you're gonna download that and wait for it to finish downloading. Alright, so we are almost done. We're done. And then basically you're going to want to open the file, start installing the JDK. So once you've done this, the IDE will automatically be able to do everything. So yeah, now install this, and basically we'll get on to the next step when we are done installing. I'm just going to skip forward, and then yeah. Alright, so here we are, everything is successfully installed. We should probably get on clicking with it now. So right now, we are now going to head over to our IDE, which should be installed. So it'll look something like this if you're using the 2024.4.1 update, which is what I'm using at the making of this video. So basically, this is what it is. We're just gonna create a new project because we don't want to mess around, basically. So we're just gonna create a new project, nothing more. So this is what it looks like when you actually make your first one. I made sure I did this so that you guys can actually see everything step by step. At the top, it's going to ask you for a name. We're going to name this one Hello YouTube, because hello YouTube. And then you're going to want to pick your JDK. I already have it installed here, right? So you can actually pick your IDE and then just get started. And then you're going to be taken into this blank empty space. Your first time opening it will take a bit longer because it's going to have to index the SDK, the Java that you installed. So super simple stuff. We're going to resize this, and then we're just going to head into here and start creating the files. Okay, so what you want to do is right click on the folder. You're going to have to create a package. You don't have to do this step. I just do it for neatness purposes. So like if you have a website and stuff, you can just do that. This is like demo kit, so we're going to start with net. Let me just show you what I mean. Net.java, and then we're going to add in another one, which is going to be the final one. You can actually stop at any point that you want. I just do this because, you know, it makes me feel like I'm important and stuff like that. So new package for the final time. This is going to be learning rather. Yeah, so learning. Gonna open up a new Java class. Now there's a C here, which is the keyboard shortcut to create a new class, but by default you will not have this. This is something that I actually set by a plugin. I will link the plugin in the description. You can actually set that. You can also set in the key maps, basically. So that's what we're going to be dealing with. Anyways, so as you can see, our package is in net.java.class. to learning. So basically how this works is if you had a website, it would go from right to left. So it would be www.learning.java.com. So it'd be like learningjava.net. You could say com.java. I say net because I'm not a company, so that's why it's net. Yeah, a little bit of a side quest. Anyway, so you now have made your first ever Java class. Hey, progress is progress, isn't it? So here we're going to create ourselves to make the file runnable. This is paramount for everything that you want to run. So public static void main. Okay, you don't need to know the context of this. I will probably explain in a future video, but as of right now, you don't need to understand it to use it. So we're just going to create ourselves this block of code. If you set it to automatically create this, then you already have this when you create your file. But I'm doing this so you can actually see the basics of how everything works. All right, so in here is where we can write the stuff that we want to execute inside this particular method. I'll explain what methods are in the next video. So we're just going to say system.out.println. That's a shortcut, an IntelliJ shortcut. If you're using like Eclipse, you can have this SYS or AOUT or something, I don't remember. But yeah, in IntelliJ, you use SOUT and then you tab to autocomplete. But if you want to type it out, you're going to have to say system.out.println, which is print line, some parenthesis, and then inside there we're going to have some double quotes. And then inside this double quotes, you can pass in any kind of message that you want to print to the terminal. So we're going to say hello world. Well, actually, no, we're going to say hello YouTube because, I mean, what else would we say? So yeah, basically, you have now officially written your first ever program. You can now go show off, I'm doing Java, since at this point you've created your first ever program. This is a program, believe it or not. Now you could run it with the current file, but not all IDEs have this. You're gonna have to create a custom configuration. So we're gonna add a new one, an application configuration, and then you're gonna give it a name. You can be creative with this, give it any kind of thing. Just make sure it's descriptive so you know exactly what you're running. So basically, I'm gonna call this one run. No, it shouldn't be run main. It's gonna be a run code, and then you need to specify the main class, the main which the main method we just wrote is gonna be in. So it's gonna be in our stuff, and then as you can see, it has just been added here. You can add multiple ones if you have multiple different classes that have the main method, so you can actually run specific types of classes. By reaching this part, you may now run the application. Or as you can see, it also says that Shift and F10 on IntelliJ. I'm not sure about the other IDEs, but in IntelliJ, Shift plus F10 will run the code. It will now start compiling, and then when it's finished, we should get hello YouTube in the terminal. Boom. Yeah, so as I said before, you can actually change this to be anything at all. It doesn't have to be hello YouTube. You can write anything. You can say hello, I am this person. In my case, hello, I am Andrew. Okay, if I can spell Andrew. And then Shift F10 to run it, or you could also click the button we just added up there. It's completely up to you. But yeah, this is the basics of Java. This is the basic like introduction to Java. So at this point, you've created your first ever Java program. Be excited, everyone. Java program number 1 has been coded. So yeah. Anyways, that's that. You can also write this down manually if you're down, package, and then go net. But we're not gonna bother with that since and to autocomplete the suggestions, you can press tab or enter. I prefer tab since it doesn't actually add in any spaces. So yeah, public class, you need to make sure that the file name matches the name that is here. So stuff, and then yeah, so this is basically everything that we're going to be doing. But yeah, see you guys in the next one, guys. Hope you had fun.